welcome, and I'm so glad to introduce you to the attorney for Elandon Roberts, Miss Janine Howell, who brought us here to be with you today. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for having us today.
And I have here Elandon Roberts, who was with the New England Patriots and now with the Miami Dolphins. And he has a story to tell us he hasn't told anyone before about how he was followed by the police. Is that correct? To your home.
Right. The video shows Roberts raising his hands and starting to get out of the car, and it shows he does comply with deputies. It was 8 minutes before Roberts was told why he was pulled over. The sheriff's office says the car had out-of-state plates and they didn't know Roberts lived there.
This wasn't a race issue.
Today, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office defended the deputy who was new to the job.
Obviously, 4 months is a very short time to be out there doing traffic stops. You can only imagine what it's like at 10 o'clock at night.
But Roberts said in his statement, being harassed in your own yard simply because you're a big black man should never become the norm.
And you were in your garage, and what happened?
So, I didn't really speak out about the incident. I kind of let my attorney handle everything and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And that night, basically, I was driving home. I was just coming from Beaumont, Texas, from a Little League baseball game, supporting the kids out there. So I was getting home late, and I had noticed a policeman had pulled behind me. Of course, I noticed them, and I was driving. So I kept going. I stopped by 2 red lights. He was still following me. I was honestly just thinking, like, maybe he live out here, because there's some cops that do live out there from that sheriff department. So once I turned into my community, to another red light, to another stop sign, that's when he hit his lights on me. My house was like right there, to probably a couple inches away. I pulled into my driveway, and of course I didn't know what was going on because of how long he was following me. So what I did was, I opened my door and I stuck my hands out my window to just show him no threat. My dad was in the military for 25 years. He was a master sergeant in the military, after Iraq. And he served in Iraq and Afghanistan during that time after 9/11. So, of course, I knew how to conduct myself accordingly with the police. So I stuck my hands out the window. I showed him no threat. I kept him up. I stood up all the way, so he seen it still was no threat. And I was asking, is everything okay, sir? Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. He started, hey, get back in the car, real aggressive. What I did was I got back in the car. He told me to roll down all my windows. I did exactly what he said. So once that happened, I could kind of see some aggressiveness in his voice. So I started to proceed to call my wife. She was inside the house. She was asleep, and she was pregnant at the time. So I said, hey, can you come outside and just make sure everything, I don't know what's going on. And like I said, I was gone from Houston all day. So, of course, I don't know what's going on in the neighborhood. And at this time, I still wasn't thinking negative about the police officer. So I just called her outside to make sure everything was fine, because I didn't know what was going on in the area, like I said. So I'm sitting there, man. So all I hear him holler at my wife, telling her to get back in the home. So I'm like, man, what's going on? So she comes outside. She like, sir, this is my house. This is my husband. Is everything okay? He was like, ma'am, get in the house for your own safety. She was like, from what? My husband? This is my house. Hold on now. I can come outside my house. I'm in the driveway. So he told us to get her to get back in the house. So what I say is, Tori, because my wife's name is Tori Roberts, I said, go back in the house. She go back in. I opened the garage from my car. Once I opened the garage from my car, she stood in the garage, because that's a part of the house.
Elandon, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to bring this important point, to the story, is that when Tori, his wife, was standing outside initially to see what was going on, the officer, Deputy Watkins, told her to go back in the house or else she was going to be arrested. So I just wanted to make that point clear.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, Janine, and because I definitely didn't want to skip over that part. So she went in the garage door opened. The cop proceeded to say, close the garage doors. I'm like, so she I don't have to close the garage doors. So she sat in the garage. She started videoing herself. we have cameras all around our house. So, you know, you can definitely see when the police officer hit his lights on me, because you can see it all. So anyway, she sat in the garage. Man, when I tell you, I can hear the police cruisers flying down the street, like flying.
Oh my
It was
God.
like, it was 5 police cars pulled up to my house. So now at this time, I don't even know why I'm even pulled over. I still don't know why I'm sitting in the car. I'm trying to figure out like what's going on. So she videoed. So she started to be like, man, like what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. So I proceeded to call my agent, because he's from Houston. He stays in Houston. So I call him. He's on the phone the whole time. So at this time, I'm sitting in my vehicle. Was it 18 minutes, Janine, before they even came to me?
It was 9 minutes. So they had Elandon sitting in his car for about 9 minutes before he even knew why he was being approached.
Right.
It wasn't until after we received a copy of the dash cam from the stop as part of an open records request that we learned that the reason why the officer didn't approach the car is because he had called for backup, describing my client as being a big black man who was being non-compliant, and that his wife was being non-compliant as well.
Okay.
Which were both false statements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to like, you know, speed up the whole story, basically after that, he came to the car, asking for my license registration. I give it to him, like, what's going on? Still didn't tell me. I'm like, can you please tell me what's going on? He said, well, you were speeding back there. So, you know, me and like I told Janine and my agent, I seen him the whole time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I knew I didn't speed by him, and I knew he didn't have a laser on me, because on the ticket it said he had me with a laser, and I'm like, he did not have me with a laser. So make a long story.
I don't know what that means.
So basically, that's when they're clocking you outside the car with the gun, with the laser gun, to see how fast you're going. And I seen him the whole time. It was dark. I'm like, he didn't have a laser on me.
So let me just back up. So after this incident happened, about a week or so, Elandon and I went to the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Department to file a formal complaint against the officer. Mm-hmm. And so there was an apology that was given by the Sheriff Troy Nels during that visit to file the complaint.
Was the apology after they found out he was a football player? I mean,
well, yeah, and that's why I'm just going to let him pick back up after that, okay. And then I'll tell what happened as far as the investigation into this incident and into the officer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to keep jumping around. Just don't want to miss anything. So
right.
So that night, after everything, and the cops that walking around my house, it was kind of frustrating, because I'm sitting in my house. You then told my wife to get in the house. Then you have a neighbor walks down the street, and I guess he knew the cops and was like, "Hey, what's up?" and talking. And I'm like, "We having a community meeting in my yard, and you telling my wife she can't even come out the house?" Mm-hmm. You know. So when the other deputies get there, I'm telling them like what's going on. So they kind of looking. So then it gets to a point. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna have to, pull that card and let them know who I am, because I don't feel like that just because I play football, or just because I do this, just because I do that, or whoever you are, that you should have to tell police officers or other officials what you do to be able to calm them down. So when the other cops came to my car, I told them, like, look, I'm Elandon Roberts. I was here. I went to the University of Houston. I did a lot for the community. I don't even understand why I'm pulled over. He haven't came to my car yet. He haven't did any of these things. So then when these guys learned who I was, they was like, oh, like, hold on now. So I guess they went consulted with the other guy. I don't know if it was an ego thing or whatever. Even though he's seen it with insurance on the car, he put that on the ticket. After that, they all proceeded to leave my house. And, it was about 6 hours later, the ticket and everything was dropped. They was trying to call me to figure out, check on the family, all the other cops and this and that other.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was 6 hours later, and all this, the ticket was dropped, everything, and like I was telling Janine at first, when the whole situation happened, I was like, I didn't want a lot of attention behind it because the simple fact that it's the first time, you know, me going through a situation like that. I just wanted to get that cop the proper training that he needed, because I know, and like I kept telling Janine, this could happen to anyone. Janine stays in my area. This can happen to her kids, you know. And what if that cop make a bad decision based off of, I don't know. I don't even know why he made the decision, you know, with me, you know. So what if it's another black man and you say, oh, it's a big black man
Who was
that's
being non-compliant.
When on the video, now you see that I got out the car. As soon as he told me to get back in, I got right back in. Mm-hmm. So the issue that raised was when backups showing up, they think no matter if he has the situation under control or what, when they showing up, they are thinking this is already a negative situation. He said this guy's been non-compliant. This guy isn't listening. So when they show up, even if I'm listening or not, they already have an aggressive mindset of showing up for the intent of taming a big black man, you know? Yeah. So if they didn't show, if they didn't show up calmly, or if I would have got out of line once they got there, the intent in their mind is he's already been like this. Mm-hmm. So we have to take the proper protocol. But now you're taking protocol that I didn't even do. I got right back in my vehicle. So what if they didn't learn who I was? If this was another big black man or black kid, how would you react to it? You know, and that was my big thing with the whole situation, that, yeah, I'm going to use my platform to bring light how we've been doing over the last 40 something years over this situation and whatnot. And because the next person, it can be bad. And if it continues, the person after that, and the person after that, and the person after that, you know, and that's what my big thing was, bringing light to the situation. I didn't want to sue the department. I didn't need any money from the department. I wanted the department to take this man through the proper training so that the next time that he pulls over somebody or judge somebody off of being a big black man, that he takes the proper, you know what I'm saying, he takes the proper steps within his traffic pull up. Because I feel like if you're scared, at the end of the day, everybody have a job to do. I know my job as a football player. I know what comes with it. I know the contact that comes with this sport like that. And I like it. I love it. I know the consequences. As a cop, as you're taught to make sure at the highest level that you protect and serve. If you is on traffic duty and you're intimidated or scared of your job when at certain times, then I feel like you shouldn't even be on the street, because that's how situations like this escalate. You know, if you can't do your job because it's dark outside, or if you can't take that proper training that they give you guys and put it on the street at night also, then you shouldn't be on the street. And that's what I was trying to make sure that cop got the proper training.
Well, do you know if he did or not?
Well, so I'll let Janine do that part, and then I'll say my comments.
All right.
Right. So after some time had passed, and I called just to check on the status of where they were with with the complaint, the investigation. I was told at that time that they didn't even have a record of the complaint in the system. So they hurried up and just put together a couple of emails that basically stated that they didn't find that the officer did anything wrong, but they were going to refer him for remedial training. That's when I approached the Fort Bend County District Attorney's office with a copy of the dash cam, the 2-page email that comprised the investigation about a month or so after the initial complaint was filed. The district attorney's office had their investigation department, along with the Texas Rangers, do an internal investigation of the incident, as well as Officer Deputy Watkins at that time. That investigation, it was determined that there were no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. But the sheriff's department, again, did have additional training, basically. That was the end of that.
So that's
I'm
where
sorry, yeah.
yeah, that's where it showed there's nothing that you can continue with nothing
I
else.
think, as Elandon was saying, that this is not about money. The whole intent on making, this, bringing awareness to this traffic stop that occurred on March the 10th of 2019 was simply to try to prevent, this officer or any other officer from escalating a traffic stop to the point of where it went with Elandon. And had Elandon not reacted the way he did in a calm manner, it could have turned out a lot worse. I mean, and here we are today
and
with
that's
George
what
Floyd.
The whole time that he was smart. He kept his emotions in. And the best thing was, how do I get out of this situation safely, right? Because a lot of times our guys are so frustrated that they're just angry, and I think they count on that, any kind of pushback. Oh, he's being aggressive or violent. But I'm very impressed by Elandon that you handled this so brilliantly. But anyway, thank you so much, Elandon, for sharing with us. I'm so proud of you. I really am. And thank you, my girl, Janine, for bringing him with us, to talk to us. Are you going to be doing anything else? Are you going to be speaking anymore with others?
I think this was,
me.
Go ahead, Elandon.
You saying me?
Yes, yeah.
Nah, I'm pretty sure, like I said, the only reason I didn't really say nothing about it, 'cause I'm kind of laid back person, I really don't even like the attention, and stuff. So I'm pretty sure this is the only time I'll be speaking of it. So you guys will have the exclusive.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm honey, like me, I just like to stay low key and stuff. But it's times like, yeah, you like to stay low key, like I said, but it's a right and wrong in every situation. And it was time that I spoke out about the situation. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only athlete that got pulled over and got harassed, but it was time for me to speak out on the situation.
I'm very happy that you did, and you were so smart.
Absolutely.
And I applaud you. I applaud you too, Janine. The fact that you even wanted to go to Janine, because she's so brilliant, so smart. This was just, I'm honored that you brought this to us, Janine.
I'm thankful to Elandon for, agreeing to share his story, because again, he and his agent and I all, Kennard McGuire, we all had a discussion about this, and we all agreed that now was the time to, for Elandon to tell his story. Because again, the whole purpose of bringing it public last year was for awareness, so that something like George Floyd wouldn't happen. So here we are, and now was the time. So thank you. I appreciate so much, Elandon.
Congratulations on your beautiful baby.
Absolutely.
And say hello to your wife for us, and we look forward to seeing you this season.
Got you. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Bye.
Thanks, Elandon. Talk to you soon.